the trade no one expected, but that could change everything. Brad Marchand, one of the most hated players among Toronto Maple Leafs fans, is now wearing the colors of the Florida Panthers. But guess what? He already has a showdown scheduled with his old enemy, and this game could determine the future of the Atlantic Division. The Maple Leafs lead the division with 94 points, just one ahead of the Tampa Bay Lightning and two ahead of the Panthers. Now, the final stretch of the season brings three direct matchups that could change everything. Two against Florida and one against the Lightning. In other words, every point is crucial, and Marchand is everything it takes to be the game changer. But before we dive into all the details of this epic battle, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Here, you stay on top of everything happening in the NHL, with sharp analysis and the hottest news. And hey, if you want your team to have some luck in this final stretch, better make sure you're subscribed right now. Brandon Carlo, Marchand's former teammate in Boston, and now a Leafs player, knows well the impact he can have. He understands that the 36-year-old veteran thrives in big moments, and that this game is set to be intense. Carlo even joked that he'll give Marchand a smile at the first face-off, but after that, the rivalry takes over. And if there's one thing Marchand knows how to do, it's getting into his opponent's heads. Since making his debut for the Panthers, Marchand has wasted no time making an impact. In his first game, he set up Sam Bennett for an overtime goal, securing the team's victory. Now, he steps onto the ice against a team he knows very well, in a game that has all the makings of one of the tensest of the season. On the other side, the Leafs need to find a way to stop him without falling into his mental game. And it's not just Marchand who can cause trouble. The Panthers also have Sam Bennett and Matthew Tkachuk, players who love to get under their opponent's skin. Leafs head coach Craig Berube has already made it clear. Falling for their provocations could be a fatal mistake. Discipline will be the key to Toronto coming out victorious. Another crucial factor could be the crowd. Scotiabank Arena will be packed, ready to push the Maple Leafs toward a must-win victory. But will the pressure be enough to hold back the Panthers' momentum? Or will Marchand and company silence the arena with another clutch performance? The fact is, this game isn't just another regular season matchup. It's practically a pre-playoff showdown, where every play, every physical battle, and every detail could determine who finishes atop the division. And with the playoffs approaching, teams are already testing their strength and strategies. Toronto wants to establish itself as a true title contender, while Florida aims to prove it can still surprise. The Leafs know that recent history isn't in their favor. Florida has won all the meetings between the teams this season, and Marchand adds a new element to the equation. How can Toronto overcome this challenge? Does Berube have a strategy to neutralize Marchand's influence and the entire Panthers' offensive line? And if the Leafs fail, could this shake their confidence heading into the playoffs? The NHL offseason is approaching, and the Toronto Maple Leafs are facing one of the most crucial decisions in recent years. Mitch Marner's future could completely shape the franchise's next steps. Will he re-sign, or will the team have to find worthy replacements? And more. How does this impact players like John Tavares and Steven Lorentz? The answer might surprise many. According to NHL insider Nick Kypreos, the Maple Leafs' top priority before making any other moves is deciding Marner's fate. Only after that will names like Tavares and Lorentz have their situations evaluated. Uncertainty looms over Toronto, and the front office is taking a cautious approach to avoid compromising the team's future. The fans are anxious, and any misstep could impact the team's ambitions for next season. But before we dive into all the details of this saga, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Here, you stay up to date with all the NHL market moves, with sharp analysis and breaking news. And hey, if you want to see the Leafs build a strong team for next season, subscribing might just be your lucky charm. Marner, 27, is about to complete his 6-year, $65.4 million contract. His performance remains impressive, tallying 89 points in 71 games, solidifying himself as a key piece in Toronto's offense. He is one of the most important players in the franchise, but there's a major issue: the salary cap. If he hits free agency on July 1st, he will almost certainly demand a significant salary increase, possibly in the $13 to $14 million per year range. This means Toronto must make a strategic decision. Spend a large portion of its cap space to keep Marner or let him go and use that money to strengthen different areas of the roster. This choice could shape the team's future for years to come. Despite speculation about a possible trade, General Manager Brad Treliving has always been a big admirer of Marner. At the trade deadline, the player himself rejected any move since he has a no-move clause in his contract. This puts the Leafs in a delicate position. They either convince Marner to sign a new deal that benefits both parties or risk losing him without any compensation. And the uncertainty doesn't stop there. Veteran John Tavares is also in the final year of his 7-year, $77 million contract. With 33 goals and 67 points in 65 games, he continues to prove his value, but the team is in no rush to decide his future. Everything depends on what happens with Marner. Reporter Nick Kiprio stated that Tavares' future will depend on how the franchise manages its cap space. If Marner stays, it could be difficult for Toronto to keep Tavares at a reasonable salary. If Marner leaves, Tavares may have a better chance at a new contract with the team. But would he accept a pay cut? That remains a big question. Meanwhile, Steven Lorentz, currently on a 1-year, $775,000 contract, is also in limbo. With 6 goals and 16 points in 69 games, his fate is entirely tied to the Marner decision. If the Leafs need to save money, Lorentz might end up as a casualty. Beyond that, the offseason brings other concerns for Toronto. If Marner leaves, who would be the targets to strengthen the roster? There are some intriguing free agents on the market, but would Toronto have the financial power to compete for big names? Or would the team try to build a more balanced and deeper lineup instead of investing in a single elite player? The Maple Leafs offseason revolves around one central question. Does Mitch Marner stay or go? If he re-signs, Toronto will have to manage every cent of the salary cap carefully to fill out the rest of the roster. If he leaves, the team will have an opportunity to pursue big-name reinforcements in free agency. But there's a third possibility that few are discussing. A contract extension at a lower price to keep the team's core intact. Would Marner consider this option? The next few months promise plenty of excitement for Leafs fans. With free agency approaching, all eyes will be on the franchise and its next moves. Will Marner sign a new contract? Or will we see a major shakeup in Toronto? How will John Tavares and Steven Lorentz be affected? Drop your opinion in the comments. And if you want to keep up with all the latest Leafs updates in the NHL, check out this other video on the screen now.